Thank you, Dave, and welcome everybody. Thank you for coming this evening and attending our webinar. Uh, David is right. I've gone to the dark side with our tug along, and we have been now in the North Channel for about almost 40 years. And about 15 plus years ago, I was really tired of starting my engine to keep the batteries up and mounted a solar panel on the pole on the back of our boat. And since then, that has taken off to be Custom Marine Products, which is a company run by myself and my son, Tom. And we provide solar systems to the marine environment throughout the US and some overseas. Okay, we can go on and work on our case study. This was our Ericsson 38 some years ago when we were avid sailors. And we're going to do a case study. It could be a sailboat or powerboat. The first question is, well, what do we really want to achieve with our solar system? Well, do we want to keep the batteries charged while we're out on a mooring? Do we want to supplement our current power generation capability? In other words, do we want to run the engine or the generator less to charge the batteries? Or do we want to generate all the power we need while at anchor in the beautiful North Channel so we don't have to run the generator or engine at all? Or do we want to generate all the power we need when we're both at anchor and on passage? Well, for our case study, we're going to be a little greedy here, and we're going to say, yes, we want to generate all the power we need while in that remote anchorage, just enjoying the beautiful environment that we have around us in the Great Lakes. So that's going to be our goal. So how do we get there? That is the question. So if we look at our boat power system, we really have two things. We have power coming in from our solar, but we also have power coming in from our wind generator, our alternator, whatever. So we have multiple power sources, but then we have power coming out of our batteries for AC power through an inverter to our AC appliances and DC power for our DC appliances, for our autopilots and our whatever the case may be. So we've got power in and power out. So with this diagram as our background, let's figure out how we're going to decide what we need. So the first step, we've got 5 steps we're going to go through. The first one is we need to have a ballpark, and believe me, just a ballpark is good, of what is our daily consumption. How much power are we pulling out to run our chart plotters, our autopilots, and how much AC power are we drawing out to run our refrigeration, whatever it may be. So what's our power consumption? That's the first thing we need to know is what are we using? The second thing we need to know is how much are we willing to put in or putting in from our alternative sources of power, like our alternator, our generator, or whatever. For example, am I willing to run my generator an hour a day or 2 hours a day regardless? Or do I want to have enough solar so I don't even have to start the generator whatsoever? And then our third step in this process is to estimate how much solar capacity we really need. And so given that we know what we're using, what we're willing to do with alternative sources, will determine how much solar we need. And then the next fourth step is to select the solar panels, the controllers, figuring out how we want to mount the panels, how much space we have, etc. And then finally, we need to assess, do we have the optimum size of our battery bank? Is the bucket the right size that we need? So those are the 5 steps we need to design our system. This is our methodology in our case study. So what we've done is we've developed a spreadsheet and to do everything that we need to do in this 5-step process. And so there's literally 5 sections to the spreadsheet to do each of these. Now, I'm going to take a few minutes to go through the spreadsheet very quickly. But I don't want you to worry about, gee, I missed that point. I don't understand that point. This is why I've designed the slides to be a reference document. You can come back here and we have a lot of detail in how to use this worksheet. And this worksheet is available to you. Dave has made it available to you. And it's also available to you under handy info menu in our system design section. And you're welcome to it. Once in a while, people need to get permission to use it. I don't know why, but we'll get an email now and then, and we give you permission. You can have this spreadsheet. And on a cold winter day, which we have a few left, even though it's only 151 days to launch, the sections in gray are sections that are numbers that you can put in and play with. So you get familiar with the sheet, you can kind of play with, well, if I don't run this that much, or if I get an upgrade in my refrigerator, what's going to be the impact? How about if I upgrade my batteries? What will happen? So you can really play with this and analyze what your power needs are and what your solar needs are for your whole system. So going through real quickly, the first thing we do is we take inventory of all of our appliances, in the DC appliances, and roughly how many amps do they draw, then how many amps or how many hours or minutes a day do they run, and that computes my total draw. And we do that. We can do this at anchor, and we can do this on passage. Uh, on passage looks like this. It's on the chart. So we come up with we consume about 71 amp hours a day, typically on our DC system, or under passage when we're running our autopilot and we're under sail. We have a higher draw or maybe a higher usage. But we're going to just focus on our at anchor now. So we take inventory of that. We then take inventory of our alternate sources. I've put in all the numbers here so you can come back and study the numbers if you wish. But how much we need for AC, and the system computes if I draw so many watts AC, how much of that has to come out of the battery through the inverter. And so that brings us down to how many watts are we consuming in a day? So here we're consuming a little over 1,000 watts in a day. Now, that 1,000 watts in a day, we say, okay, what are we going to get from our alternate power sources, from our alternator, our generator, our wind generator, whatever the cases may be. And then that gives us a bottom line of how much power we're going to need. So this is where it may be different between on passage and at anchor. So we may say, well, we're going to run the engine for 2 hours when we're on passage, getting out of our anchorage, getting into the anchorage, whatever, which will give us maybe 780 amps going into the system. So that's where the on passage and the at anchor may actually be different. So we have our power consumed per day. The next section lets us go to step 3 to talk about our solar power requirements. So the first thing is the average sun hours per day. Now, in our latitude of where we typically are in the Great Lakes, 5 average hours of sun a day is a pretty good number. So that means if we look at the total day and all the different sun angles of the day, and we average all that out, it'd be the equivalent of 5 hours of direct sun. If I'm in the Caribbean, it could be 7. If I'm tilting and rotating my panels, it could be upwards of 7. But if I'm flat, horizontal, 5 is a good number. And then our battery charge inefficiency factor, roughly 20% is if I'm using a lead acid or AGM. That gives me some inefficiency factor. And then the system comes up with what panels do I want to put on? Well, I want to put on 130 watt panels. I want to use 3 of them. And so it tells me I need a 30 amp controller. And I'm going to have an excess of power during the day of about 500 watts. But then we need to consider cloudy days, because I'm not getting all of the solar on cloudy days. And on cloudy days, depending on the panels, I say, well, what if I only get 30% out of my panels, and I want to be covered for at least 2 continuous cloudy days? How much battery am I going to need, and how much excess solar power do I need to address that? And again, the numbers are here. We're not going to go through the numbers. I just want to show you the concept of how this spreadsheet's working. Then we look at our batteries, and we determine what is our efficiency of our usable capacity of our battery. Lead acid, we can only draw them down 50%, as we all know. AGMs, maybe 60%. If we're using lithium iron phosphate, that number goes up to 90%, 95%. Then we input our capacity of our battery, and the system will then tell us that we need 1.5 or 2 batteries would be optimal under at anchor, but we need about 3 batteries if we're under power. So then the system also does a second scenario. What if my solar, I don't have any solar? How much battery do I need? And it comes up with those numbers. So it addresses how much battery capacity do I need. So here's a slide with showing lithium iron phosphate. So this previous slide said I need 1.5 batteries, so I need about 2 batteries. Lithium iron phosphate, because they're so much more efficient, I only need 1 battery instead of 2, and it's kind of interesting. So this will handle all the different types of batteries and show you everything. So we fill out the whole spreadsheet. It takes us through all 5 steps, and then we end up with a conclusion of how much solar we need, and in this case, 254 watts, based on a couple extra days of clouds and whatever. And we have that at anchor and on passage. I'm not going to take you through the numbers, but I just want you to have the concepts, and you can go back and study them. So we have findings of our power consumption, our battery capacity, and our solar panel needed in watts. So that's how we go through the process, our 5-step process to design our solar system. How are we doing on time? It's 7 o'clock. Okay. 9 o'clock. 4 hour. So with this section, then we're about on schedule here. We've designed and determined how much solar we need. We've determined what size controller we need. We've determined the optimum size of our battery for what we're using. So now we are marine electricians, solar marine electricians. We know everything there is to know about solar. So our next mission is to install them. But first, I want to share one more concept with you, and that is utilizing the solar power in our balanced system that we have. And I haven't come up with a great way to show this other than these drawings, so bear with me for a minute. But I just want to put out a concept to you that if we look at our boat as a independent, standalone system with its own power, totally sustainable, we have usage. Our red curve here is our usage curve. So at the bottom, you can see our hours in the day, and our usage will pick up. We've got some usage overnight from our refrigeration, whatever. That's going to pick up during the day, some, and level back off at night. If I'm not doing anything to my batteries are going to continue to decrease in state of charge or in power. We're going to be consuming the power in the batteries, and that's the green line. So now if we add solar to the ball game, that's the blue line. We have solar in the morning. This is summer solar, not winter solar, because we're getting some solar at 6 in the morning and at 6 at night. So this is the power going into the batteries. So you'll notice the change in the power curve from this slide where our batteries are completely going down to this slide where the solar is recharging the batteries. And so our battery charge curve looks like this modified green line. Now, we designed our system for a couple of days of cloudy days, and maybe we put in even a little extra solar on. So what we often find is that by noon to 2 o'clock, our batteries are at capacity. They're right here. They're full. And I've got all this extra power from solar not being used. This is when you fire up your water maker if you're in salt water. This is when you heat your hot water. This is when you use your high power systems. Turn on your air conditioner, perhaps, whatever the case may be. In the afternoon, you have excess power to use. So that's when you turn on the power hogs that really pull from your system. So I just want to share with you the concept of power management. And hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So that's 7:30, hour and a half. If anybody's awake out there, let's open it up to Q&A.
Well, thanks very much for that, Tom. Just got a question from Sandy asking where she can find the spreadsheet. So I just pointed her to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. There's a couple of files to download there. One is the spreadsheet that you spent a lot of time going through your case studies. And the second file is all of the slides from tonight. That's in a fairly compact PDF file, so it's not a massive file. So let's see what other questions we might have here. It looks like Harrison already answered Sandy as well. Daryl talking about the T-class fuses, which are, as you said, they're pretty big fuses. Are there any other questions for Tom? I think he went into a lot of detail and probably covered most questions that most people might have. I had one question, Tom, about selecting a solar controller. And I'll just go into my system. I've only got about 200 watts of solar. Is there any drawback on getting like a significantly larger controller? I really only need about a 20 amp or maybe 25 amp controller. If I ended up with a 40 or 50 amp controller, do I lose efficiency? Do I gain efficiency? I know it's more money and takes up more space, but from an electrical point of view, do you know if there's any significant difference there?
No, it'll be about the same.
Okay.
It'll be about the same.
So just throwing money away by buying a bigger controller.
Well, yes, you are and you aren't. I've often recommended to clients, to customers, that if you're not sure of how much solar you need and you want to experiment, go ahead and buy the larger controller.
Yeah.
Don't buy all of the solar panels. Just buy one or two or whatever you think you need. Try that. And then if you need more solar, you've got the controller there. All you need to do is plug in the additional panels and you're good to go. So from that point of view, a larger controller can be helpful.
Okay, it looks like we don't have any further questions. So thanks very much for this, Tom. As I mentioned at the outset, everyone here will receive a recording of this session. You're welcome to watch that recording as many times as you like. It should be available almost indefinitely. Tom is very pleased to answer your questions. As he said, he makes house calls. So if you have questions shortly after the webinar, or even in the middle of the summer, I know Tom is happy to take your emails, and he'll do the best he can to get back to you. I imagine I'll be seeing many of you back here next Thursday when Tom's talking about lithium iron phosphate batteries. But in the meantime, I will end the recording and wish everyone a good night, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much, Tom.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Have a great evening.
Good night, all.